When we think of the game's greatest rivalries, we often look to the long-standing traditional clubs like Collingwood vs Carlton, Richmond vs Essendon, or any combinations of those big four clubs. Then we have the derbies and the showdowns, but over the past decade, arguably the fiercest rivalry has been one that exists between the Western Bulldogs and Greater Western Sydney. Just how did these two teams come to hate each other so much? Well, I'm here to tell you all about it. I'm Jackson from Off the Play, and this is the rivalry between Western Bulldogs and GWS. Many people actually trace this rivalry back to the final round of the 2014 season. It was Bulldogs champion Daniel Giansiracuse's final game in the red, white and blue, but the young punks at the Giants had no plans in turning this into a celebration. A few of the men in charcoal, orange and white decided to go the verbal and get a bit lippy to Gia, which of course the Bulldogs players felt disrespected by. GWS ultimately won the game by a goal, but the Bulldogs players felt that the young group had no right in serving that up to a club champion in his final game. This story was kind of elaborated on by Caleb Daniel during an excellent episode of the Dylan Friends podcast. Go check it out. About a year or so later, Bulldogs captain Ryan Griffin announced that he would be leaving the club for the Giants. Ultimately, the Bulldogs received the highly touted former number 1 draft pick Tom Boyd as part of the deal back. Let's also throw in the fact that Giants captain Callan Ward was another former doggy, and we start to see how there's quite a bit of tension between the two clubs. It all led up to the 2016 preliminary final, later described as one of the greatest games of the decade, when the Dogs triumphed by a single goal. The man who kicked the winning goal was Jack McRae, a player the Dogs selected with their compensation draft pick they received for Cal Ward. The following week, the Western Bulldogs claimed their drought-breaking flag, with ex-Giant Tom Boyd producing a starring role. Fast forward a couple of seasons, with lingering tensions just festering in the background, it was not a happy pack of Giants when Bulldogs skipper Marcus Bontempelli crunched Nick Haynes late in the 2019 regular season. Haynes suffered injuries to his throat, but the Dog star was fined rather than suspended because the incident was assessed without a medical report. The Giants did not forget this and were out to deliver some street justice. Haynes specifically said to the media before their elimination final game that there were no hard feelings, but I don't know about you guys, but what Toby Green is doing here kinda looks like hard feelings. Green certainly made his presence felt the next time these two clubs met, and he took the saying an eye for its literal meaning. But he too avoided suspension. Green was instead fined $7,500 at the tribunal, having entered a guilty plea in response to the ugly incident during the first quarter of the game. There was much anticipation for their first counter of 2020, and it did not disappoint. It all started before the game, when the Giants played some mind games by sending out defender Nick Haynes to do the coin toss, rather than their normal captain Stephen Cornelio, and face skipper Bontempelli man to man, eye to eye. It did not take long for spot fires to erupt everywhere in this game too, confirming that the rivalry will live on for some time yet. And really, how great is it? We all love the big games, but it's awesome to see two of the smaller clubs generate so much passion, hatred and attention. Well, that's our video. If you enjoyed it, we'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe, and thanks very much for watching.